Sunday Papers Podcast with your host Greg and Mike. Oh, it's easy Sunday, just like riding a bike. Read all about it. It's Sunday Papers again. Bop, 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 shoo, bop.
Clap it in. 6, 7.
I didn't even hear that. All right. And 3, 2, 1.
I didn't hear that.
Maybe we'll be filtering out the annoying sounds. But we are recording, Pally.
Here we go. Hey now.
Wait, what?
Hear ye.
Oh, my God. Lowest energy, hear ye ever.
Get your papers. Get your papers right here. Get them from me or my father will beat me. He sends me out here in the mornings to sell papers. It's 1930. The Depression started.
I was going to take over for you and yell here, but then I said, oh, the old people here in Florida where I am might freak out, but maybe they won't even hear me.
They won't hear you.
Yeah.
No. So how's it going down there? How's your dad?
He's good. I'd say the highlight is watching him try to sync his hearing aids to his iPhone. That has been, that's what I've been watching the most.
That's amazing.
Even when I want to watch other things, that's what I'm seeing.
Wow.
Yeah. But no, it's crazy Florida, but the season has started. This is the weekend.
Yeah.
Like he belongs to some clubs down here, and it was like opening night last night at one of them, and then the other one, they started golf a little early, but the dining, the restaurants are open this weekend. So it's the season.
Can you describe your father's outfit for me for the dinner at the club?
It was colorful. It was a blazer. I think it was a rich, I'm not good with my color. Royal blue, maybe, whatever the most vibrant blue is that's between light blue and dark blue. It's one of those. And then maybe
yellow slacks.
Yeah, yellow shirt or slacks was in there.
Your father,
also.
he dresses like he's in a blaxploitation film from the 70s.
Okay, yeah, all right. He has lost. Yeah, he has proven you can take the boy out of the Bronx. You can take the that no longer exists.
Yeah.
So that's for sure.
And so did you guys play golf?
Not yet. I think we're going to go out there tomorrow, and then I'm going to fly back Monday. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. That's right. We have no real material about Halloween, except there's a breaking story in Korea that Denman is going to keep us abreast of because it's literally happening as we speak.
Yeah, a lot of people have died, though, I think.
150 Koreans have died in a Halloween party. And
that's terrible. What does Korea think they are? Detroit?
Right?
Detroit is usually the awful headline capital of Halloween.
Yeah. I
remember, did we talk about this last podcast? But we had a guy, did you ever meet, I can say his name, right? But there's a guy, Galuli. He was on my floor freshman year. Bob Galuli, blonde guy.
Familiar.
Blonde guy. His dad was a executive at Ford, I think, and he grew up maybe in Grosse Pointe. Anyway, outside of Detroit. So it's freshman year, and we're only just into it. 2 months into freshman year, and we don't really know Bob that well. And it's October 30th, and he comes in. He's like, "Dudes, what are we doing tonight?" And we're like, "What?" And he's like, what are we doing? We're going fucking crazy, man. Light shit on fire. And we're like, what, Bob, what? He's like, "It's Devil's Night, dudes." And we're like, "What's Devil's Night?" And I don't know if you, in Westchester, in New York, we called it Mischief Night.
Oh, I thought only Detroit did that. This October 30th, right?
Yeah, but we called it Mischief Night. But it mostly involved toilet paper and egging and eggs, lighthearted stuff. But in Detroit, what Devil's Night is the city is lit on fire.
Yeah.
That's the shortest way to describe it.
Right.
And Bob was all about Devil's Night in Boston, and it was not playing. It was not playing well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we did a lot of shit on Halloween night. We went pretty berserk. Like we had like a lot of eggs. There'd always be one asshole that brought Nair, and he would rub Nair in your hair, and then you'd have to run home, and then you'd have a bald spot all week at school, and then we'd take shaving cream and we put aerosol tips on top of a Barbasol can and sprayed at each other.
Eventually, it was either A&P or Grand Union. Those were the big shopping, food stores and grocery stores. And they eventually put a guard in the aisle where we were stealing all the aerosols, and also a guard in the shaving cream aisle.
Yeah, because you would just steal the aerosol tip off the aerosol can.
Yes.
Right.
So all of the people food shopping would get home and they had no way to get out of the can whatever they bought, to spray.
Yeah.
Like Lysol or whatever. But then some kid, remember, I mean, we are 20 years from the internet at this point, but some kid got very creative and taught us that you could put a pin or a toothpick. I think it was a toothpick.
You light it on fire.
Yes, you put a toothpick in the shaving cream hole that puts out a nice stream in your hand of thick shaving cream, and you burn it down to the size that you want.
Right. Yeah, we did that.
And then it sprays a long way.
Yeah, I beat up a girl one Halloween. Did I ever tell you that story?
They don't even do that in Detroit. What are you doing?
Well, she was dressed as a bum. Because remember, on Halloween, we dressed as homeless people for our entire lives. That was a costume. Can you imagine one of our kids saying, "Dad, I'm going to dress as a homeless person this year"?
Now Gen Z does that year round.
Yeah. And so she was dressed up as a bum, and so she sprayed shaving cream in my eyes. And I didn't know who it was. I just know it looked like a guy that I could probably take. And so I chased him, and I knocked him down, and I'm sitting on top of him. I'm punching him in the face. And then my friends are all pulling me off, and they're going, "Dude, it's a girl! It's a fucking girl!" And so I just ran. I ran away. And so cut to 2 months later, I'm at the Tarrytown Lakes where we used to skate. The ice would freeze, and they would have a heated shack. There was this big shack where you could put your skates on, take your shoes off.
Back when we had winters, yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, this happened from before Christmas until March. That thing was fucking frozen.
Yep.
And guess what? I talked to somebody recently. That lake hasn't been frozen in 20 years.
No, that's not true.
It froze like once or twice in 20 years.
Well, there's too many antidepressants in the water now.
That's right.
The river flows right in there with it. Happy
Look
river.
at you. You're on fire this week, Mike. I like it.
I am fading fast, so let's go. Keep it going. Let's keep moving forward. I'm on Florida time.
So they had big floodlights on telephone poles, and so they'd light up the lake at night, and they had speakers, and they would play AM radio, like fucking Helen Reddy.
Yeah, but AM radio was our FM. We're really dating ourselves here, but yes.
So anyway, 2 months later, I'm out on that lake at night, and some girl comes up to me and she goes, "Hey, that girl over there," I'm not going to say her name in case she's listening. She has a crush on you. And I was like, "Well, who is she?" Well, she's from Irvington. She's from the next town down. Her name is so-and-so. And it turns out she's the girl I punched in the face.
Yeah, her nose is still healing, but she has a crush on you.
She has a crush on you and a few daddy issues.
Well, it's also does she still think like I hit girls that I like I did in third grade?
Yeah. And so
this was something different.
So I'm standing there talking to her, and she's actually pretty hot. And all of a sudden, my friend Chris Spencer comes skating at me as hard as he can from the side so I don't see him, and he levels me. Just fucking levels me.
Easily break a skull. Easily.
I knocked my head on the ice, and I couldn't get up for a while. And guess who she suddenly had a crush on? Chris fucking Spencer. This was
makes more
damaged
sense.
girl. This was a damaged girl.
Well, Chris was her hero, getting her nemesis. She probably was pretending she had a crush on you so she could poison you.
So she could, her and Chris Spencer were in cahoots. the whole time.
Exactly.
Damn it.
I'm sitting back on this Florida recliner now. There we go. All right.
What's Olivia dressing up as this year?
I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, I got to ask my kids. I don't know what they're doing. When's Halloween? Monday. Oh
Monday.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm there. I'll see what I don't know what it is she's dressing as.
Okay. All right.
Nothing planned. I think she's still deciding. What about you know what your kids are doing? Are they doing anything?
I don't know. I haven't asked either one of them, but I would guess the odds are one of them's dressing as Dahmer. That's a given.
Her school, I told you, came down on that idea. They think it's very inappropriate. So
Well, you just say you're dressed as Ellen.
Cool outfit. Are you Ellen or David Spade? Yeah, I'm Ellen.
Yeah. So what's going on with William Lauder?
All right. So when we get down here, my dad worked his whole life at Estee Lauder, right? And he knows the Lauders. And when my dad was there, a guy started in the mailroom, and it was William Lauder, and that was, I think, Ronald's son, maybe Leonard's. I should know that. Anyway, but that's pretty good due diligence. But my dad was funny. He would tell everyone. My dad was had an Aramis at the time, and he's like, hey, listen. He's like, be nice to that kid who's like delivering your mail right now. He's like, he is going to be your boss like not that long from now. And he like would try to tell people like to be nice to this kid. Anyway, so William actually does he's pretty earnest in this approach and learns the business. According to my dad. And anyway. Runs Origins, creates Origins, or has a hand in creating it and running it, which is one of their lines. And anyway, a lot of kind of crazy family stuff that involved cheating and a big divorce and all that. Anyway, Estee Lauder passed away, a number of years ago. The two sons are still alive.
Wait, is Estee a man or a woman?
A woman.
Okay, so Estee dies. William is her son.
I think Estee Lauder, from Brooklyn, I think her name was Esther Levy.
Oh.
Jewish woman from Brooklyn who started this cosmetics empire. And so anyway, it's a long way to set up who this guy is. And even though he kind of, worked hard or whatever, I mean, talk about a silver spoon. So just him is a billionaire, I believe. And, both his dad and his uncle are. And he got a lot of that money. Like, it didn't just go to the sons. So the headline here, holy moly, is, and my dad drove me down there, he bought a house here and a lot next door. The house was just built. It is this unbelievable mansion. And the mansion is over $110 million. And it's new construction, slate roofs, everything. He has a giant backhoe thing, smashing it to bits and removing it.
The entire house?
The entire house. We drove by it.
No.
Dude, the whole island is freaking out. We drove by it, and the window dressings are still in the window as this crane is smashing the glass and the roof just right down to the ground. And he's going to build again. And the lot next door cost a fraction of that. So like the amount of money he's paying just to get it to be an empty lot. But the look on it, like the entitlement, like you must have been told by a million people to deconstruct the home. And the whole west coast of Florida, there's a giant new homeless situation of people who have lost everything.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's one of those slate tile roofs. You see all the new slate on the roof, and it's just being smashed. But you could take out the doors, you could take out the floors, you could take out the windows, preserve as much of the studs as you can. There's companies that do it. It costs a little more, but cost isn't an issue for this guy.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's gross.
And the funniest thing is even the hedge fund guys are like, that's gross. Even the billionaires are like, dude, what a blind spot. What are you doing?
$110 million house. Why buy it?
It's on the front page of every newspaper down here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you guys went over there? Is your dad still friends with the guy?
You could drive by it. I mean, if they saw each other, they don't like do dinners or anything like that. He was more friends with, with his dad, and still is.
Right.
So.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, you saw Leonard. Leonard spoke at, Cynthia's memorial and stuff.
Yeah.
They were close. So anyway, yeah, that's going on. And
Meanwhile, we just removed a tree from my front yard, and we had 3 neighbors helping us supervise the gardener to do it right because we're putting in 3 new trees.
Oh, on the parkway by the street?
Yeah.
Ah.
No, inside the fence. We had two big plum trees that were beautiful. They were like my favorite color. They were maroon, and I
remember it well.
And they were like, they bookended the house. They as you walked in, they had a tree on either side, and then they both died. There was some kind of bug infestation, and the trees died, so we had to chop them both down. And so now we're putting up some smaller ones. Yeah.
And you do have a wood burning fireplace, don't you?
We do.
Are you able to burn that maroon shit?
Oh, I never thought of that. I don't know. Guy just took it away. I'm like William Lauder. I just destroy shit and get rid of it.
Just tear it down. It's not dead. Tear it down anyway.
Yeah. So I went last night to a play. Our friends took us to a play, and it's avant-garde, and it's you ever heard of the Actors Gang? It's Tim Robbins.
Poop on stage. Yeah. Aren't they in Culver?
Yeah, it's in Culver. So we went to see the Actors Gang. It was the 40th anniversary. And if people don't know, the Actors Gang was started by Tim Robbins and a couple other people. And it's a very punk rock, explosive, avant-garde theater company. And they've done really interesting work for 40 years. It's been a very what Jack Black credits it for giving him his start. He was there last night, and it was the 40th anniversary. And so, but I'm telling you, there's moments when you're watching this crazy shit where people are doing these monologues about nothing, and they've got a fucking wiffle ball and they're hitting up somebody dressed as a rabbit, and you're just going what the fuck is going on right now? But it was good. It was good. It was interesting. It's open till December. I would recommend people go see it.
Wait, you do?
I mean, if you smoke pot, you have to smoke pot before you go. But the commitment of the actors is intense. They're really. It reminds me of the kind of shit my brother does in New York.
Hitting people with wiffle ball bats?
Yeah.
Got it. All right. I don't know if I'm gonna go, but okay, we'll see. You never say never.
This week's logo is from Kyle Spencer. It's a shout out to the movie. What's the movie called?
American Movie?
American Movie.
You got it, everyone. I mean, if you haven't seen it, good Lord, I don't know what you're doing.
Although, is it our faces? Oh, yeah, it is our faces. Oh, yeah, he put the glasses and the mustache on.
Hello.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. Well done, Kyle.
What, you thought it was just a picture of those dudes?
Well, I have it shrunk down too much. Now that I enlarge it, I can see a little bit better.
You're the guy who just died, Michael.
Yeah.
I think it's Michael, right? Isn't it Michael?
How about our catchy song this week from Mitchy Mitch?
Mike. That was a catchy one.
Real nice. Love it.
Yes.
That goes in the finalist bins of possible songs. Correction, just one correction. Apparently, when we talked about Jill Biden getting booed at a Eagles game, the truth is that was fake news. That was a doctored clip of boos that did not really happen, which made me feel good because she was standing there with a bunch of cancer survivors, and they were.
Yeah, I mean, it was just another excuse for me to express my distaste for Philadelphia, but I'm glad they didn't do that. I take it back then. My apologies.
All right, so I should wait for sports, but let me ask you: the World Series now has the Phillies against Houston. Which team do you hate more?
I don't even know how many games they've played.
Houston Astros.
I hate them both so much. I guess I hate Houston more.
Yeah.
I think I do.
Okay, so you're pulling for the Phillies.
And also, they were such Yankee killers, you know? Altuve, like, oh my God.
Oh,
So,
that's right. Yeah.
But also the cheating, yeah. I mean, for sure. Phillies are up. Okay, good. Phillies are up 1-0 in the series. Okay, good.
I'm going to be coming to your town very soon. If you live in San Francisco this weekend, November 3rd through the 5th, I'll be at the Punchline Comedy Club. It's an amazing club. Tampa Side Splitters, November 17th through 19th. Then Oklahoma City, Fort Worth, Texas, all coming up in December. And then I got a bunch of new dates in the new year I'm going to be announcing soon. Let's talk a little bit about life insurance.
Okay.
Because life insurance is something that, for me, in the kind of career that I've lived through, and you have, you go job to job, and you never really know if you're going to be able to support your family. And then you think about dying. And I think about my father dying young, and it always gave me peace of mind to know I had decent insurance. Well, Policy Genius helps you. Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $17 per month for $500,000 of insurance.
Do it.
I mean, it's crazy not to have it. If you have anybody that's depending on you, not just a wife and kids, you might have a parent depending on you. You might have a brother depending on you. Who knows? So it's a bill to modernize the life insurance industry. They make it easy to compare life insurance quotes from AIG, Prudential, all the big companies, and you just click through. They get all your information, and they're not incentivized to recommend one insurer over the other. You can trust them. No added fees. Your personal info is private. They've got thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot, and the website is so easy to use. So, your workplace may not offer you the kind of insurance that your family really needs. If you look at it, you're probably getting about 1/10 of what you really need. So find the right policy for the right price.
Oh, companies give you, I think they like to just be able to brag and put it in a list of benefits. It's hard. It's almost just symbolic amount.
Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net. You deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. Head to policygenius.com or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes. See how much you could save. That's policygenius.com. All right.
What do you have to lose?
Let's get to the front page.
What do we got?
Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
Oh, if I had a hammer.
Oh, boy.
Some lunatic broke into the home of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and assaulted her husband, Paul Pelosi. He's been identified, 42-year-old David DePape. DePape?
DePapers.
He's been charged with, here's what they charge him with, because they're not fucking around. They want to put this guy away. He's been charged with burglary, assault with a deadly weapon, threatening a family member of a public official.
I didn't know that was a charge. I love it.
Dissuading a witness from reporting a crime, elder abuse, battery with serious bodily injury, damaging a wireless device, and, attempted murder.
Damaging a wireless device. They're going to throw the book at me. I've thrown a phone.
Maybe he had a hearing aid in and he punched him in the ear.
I don't know what. No, I mean, did he maybe try to, kill the security in the house or something?
Oh, maybe that's it. Yeah.
I don't know. I've only read the headlines, but I guess he called 911 during the attack. Pelosi?
Yeah, I guess so. But this guy, he grew up in Canada. Apparently, his family says he had strong opinions, and they said that they differed from those of his family members. They're very clear that they have different opinions.
Outlier.
So he is a nude activist who picketed naked against laws that required people to be clothed in public.
Oh.
He lived with Gypsy Taub, another nude activist, and her family.
I'm going to guess he was very anti-mask. If you're anti-clothes, you're anti-mask.
He was a hemp jewelry maker.
Oh.
And he promoted a lot of conspiracy theories at the time, including the theory that 9/11 was an inside job.
Inside Saudi Arabia? Okay, go ahead.
DePape was calling out, where is Nancy, apparently, in search of the speaker, a question that also filled the halls of the Capitol as rioters breached on January 6th.
How about a better question for him would be, where's Google? Because if you Googled it, you would have seen Nancy was in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, right.
Which is very easy to find out.
This whole description, a Canadian hemp jewelry maker nudist who went to Burning Man and lives in a commune, it smells to me like a liberal. If the cops are trying to profile potential criminals, they would have had this guy marked for like, what, ODing on CBD oil?
Here's your inside job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently there's been a lot of, I mean, you always wonder, when something like this happens, you just think, all right, this is fucking horrific. This is one of those things that you just think, all right, both sides are going to come together for one moment and just say, this needs to be condemned. No. We were just talking to Chris Denman, who is, as you know, is a little to the right. And when I say a little to the right of fucking, Ted Cruz. And he says there's been a lot of chatter on the sites he goes to, and they're saying that there was a gay lover in the house, that the window was broken from the inside. Already, just, Chris, what did you find? What do you got?
Well, I saw, by the way, Republicans also said, you see, this crime hit, this is a quote, crime hits everybody, and that this can happen anywhere. Crime is random, and that's why it's such a significant part of this election story.
Yeah.
That was a quote. Yeah, this seemed like a really random, I mean, the luck that a lunatic screaming, "Where's Nancy?" breaks into a house that has a Nancy.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's crazy. That's against all random odds.
Yeah, right.
Listen, whatever. People on the right who are such, they're feeling so easily hurt just listening to a podcast, and they complain to us. You have no idea. But we try not to talk about politics too much, but the disgraceful things that are happening, I'm sorry, are from the right. They're really embarrassing. Oh my God, do we live in a third world country where they're storming the Capitol, where they're now breaking into politicians' house with intent to harm? I'm sorry, it's the right.
Well, now there was also an attack on a Republican recently. Who was it?
Kidnapping a governor.
Right.
I hate it. Trust me, you will not find me being two-faced. If there's attacks, if the left did this weekend and it wasn't Pelosi, I would be just as pissed off, and it's disgraceful.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. It's just, there's the one example you're bringing up. There's so many unhinged stories about the right.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
All right. So Kanye West, Adidas announced that, this is your story.
Wait, also, by the way, they're saying that they're blaming also Biden for this in right-wing media, saying that he has not healed the nation's divides, and that's why this happened.
Yeah.
It's always great blaming sort of the victims or not even looking at the guy who did it. Anyway, all right, Kanye West. I mean, just stepping back from it, this Kanye, it's crazy. He's full-blown crazy.
He's
and
crazy.
Seems to be doubling down.
And I mean, it's like, at what point does the media stop and go, okay, here's somebody who's in a mental health crisis. Let's stop publicizing everything that comes out of his mouth.
Well, the New York Times printed a timeline of everything, and we don't have to go all the way into it. But the big news this week was Adidas announced it would cut ties with him after a nearly decade-long partnership, a move the sports apparel giant said would cost it $250 to $246 million this year. The partnership accounted for $1.5 billion of Kanye's net worth, and without it, he would lose his billionaire status. Skechers said he had been escorted from its corporate offices in Los Angeles after an unannounced and uninvited visit. And then despite his just awful comments, which was a quote from Daniel Ek, the chief executive of Spotify, he said that they would not remove the rapper's music from the platform because his music did not violate Spotify's anti-hate policies. Well, I mean, what do you have to do to be removed from Spotify other than ask, I guess, like Neil Young? Because the Michael Jackson, I mean, did they remove, what's his name? The guy who slept with all the women in Chicago, underage women, and peed on them and everything? I Believe Kelly? I Can Fly. Yeah. I wonder if Chris, can you look up, did they remove R. Kelly's music from Spotify?
Anyway, Kanye picked the wrong group to attack. If he said shit about the Irish, we'd be lucky to get him banned from the Blarney Stone on 6th Avenue. We can't flex like this. You know, I mean, you think about it, like black people are upset because they're like, wait a minute, you know, how is it that I don't know, am I going to get in trouble for saying this?
What?
It's like black people are saying, like, he said slavery was a choice. He said that racism was a dated concept. He did the White Lives Matter T-shirt. He said George Floyd was killed by fentanyl, not by being kneeled on. And like nobody in the business shut Kanye down.
I know.
And then all of a sudden he goes anti-Semitic, and it's fucking over. And you go like, you know, well,
I know. It's interesting. I mean, listen, clearly a lot of these companies that are cutting them off, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, but they have black executives also. Like, I don't know. Yeah, and I know an article was written about it. I wonder what, I'd like to know what someone who knows what they're talking about, which is not me.
Not me.
How they break that down.
It says here, R. Kelly and Charles Manson currently on Spotify. All right.
They both
I've
have
never listened to
solid
any
albums.
Charles Manson.
They have solid albums, yes.
Yeah. Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, apparently I killed him, but okay. All right, Trump won't return to Twitter right away.
All right, let's skip this.
What, about Twitter?
I just feel like we're laying on thick on the right here today, and I just don't want to get all the fucking mail.
No, I'm just saying that Musk is going to enlist this panel, so it's actually kind of like a better than people expected. But wait, I did read a stat, has nothing to do with politics, that did I screen grab it? Hold on. That, here we go. In the first 12 hours after Musk acquired Twitter, the use of the N-word increased nearly 500%.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's back.
All right.
Old-fashioned Twitter.
Let's cut down to entertainment.
All right, here you go.
This is dark. My old office mate, a guy I used to write with on Bill Maher's show.
Yeah.
Eric Weinberg. He was also the executive producer of the hit show Scrubs. He was one of the biggest writers in Hollywood for the last 20 years. Huge.
TV writers, yeah.
He pleaded not guilty to sexually assaulting 5 women whom prosecutors say he lured to photo shoots. He was arrested earlier this month after being charged with 18 felonies, including rape, sexual battery by restraint, false imprisonment by use of violence, and assault by means of force likely to cause great bodily injury. Jesus.
He's also being charged for stealing Dahmer's moves. That photo shoot thing is the oldest trick in the book.
Dude, I got to tell you, though, this is so fucking weird. This guy he'd come out to my comedy shows sometimes with his wife, who he'd been with. He was a Harvard guy who was like very, he was always a pussy hound. He was, he was always talking about women. He was obsessed with women, but nobody thought anything like this. This is fucking weird.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
And I heard is that what you just...
Well, he would tell women. He would meet women in coffee shops and bars, and he would tell them his job, and then he would say he's directing. He's a photographer as well, and do they want to get some photos taken? And every young actress in Hollywood always wants more photos taken, and so they'd come over, and then he would attack them. It was crazy.
he did not eat them. Can we end on a positive note?
That's true. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Let's end on a positive note.
Yeah.
Maybe he did eat them, but he didn't kill them.
All right, what's going on with Saul?
All right, so here's a funny. I don't think this is I'm going to try to do this as not a spoiler, but also, I mean, I'm late to the party anyway. So in Better Call Saul, I'm finishing up. I think I have like 3 episodes to go or something, and it is heating up now, thankfully. So anyway, but so many great characters in Better Call Saul, I have in my distorted memory placed in Breaking Bad as well. That, in other words, we're seeing them early on. And so without spoiling it, I just want to say, like, anyway, something very serious happened to one of the characters. And I was shocked because in my mind, I still saw the person the way I was seeing them in Better Call Saul. I saw them that way in Breaking Bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which chronologically comes next. And so that was very weird. It was like it was a real surprise to me what happened to one of these characters, and you know, pretty crazy. But it's heating up for sure. So
it is interesting. I can't imagine that writer's room, because you've been in writer's rooms, and there's like, you got a chalkboard and you've got episodes written out, but now you're working backwards from an entire fucking. I mean, what was Breaking Bad was what, 7, 8 seasons, and you're working backwards from everything that happened in that, so that what you're doing leads up to it, you know, seamlessly. It's crazy.
Yeah, maybe Breaking Bad was 6. I can't remember. But anyway, I know. And you're providing all this backstory. But it's also, as people know who watch it, it's actually, it's surrounding Breaking Bad. They'll have all these scenes that are after Breaking Bad also, when he's in hiding.
Yeah.
And you're finding out what the hell's going on while he's in hiding. And it's like this series, I guess, is resolving both of those. What happened after and what happened before.
Right.
So anyway, I just wanted to, because I was down on it, but I did stick with it, and it's got me now. It's pretty good.
In New York City Wednesday night, SNL alumni Chris Redd got slugged in the face by some random dude and rushed to the hospital.
What?
He had driven up to the Comedy Cellar, and at around 9:40 p.m. got out of a vehicle, and then a man apparently wearing a security guard uniform ran up to Chris and clocked him in the face, bloodying his nose. Cops
Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?
Cops were on patrol in the area and quickly responded to the scene, but the assailant had already run off. I'm guessing, you know, Chris Redd just fired from SNL, suddenly doing a lot of spots at the Comedy Cellar. I'm guessing it was Bobby Kelly, maybe Todd Barry, Keith Robinson.
The usual suspects.
Yep.
Stealing their stage time.
Yep. What a fucking month for Chris Redd. Fired from SNL and now punched in the face. Jesus.
Was he fired? I worked with him on the roast. He was great on the Alec Baldwin roast. He was one of the roasters. He was very good. And
I thought he was really good on SNL. I thought he was one of the stronger people.
Yeah.
And they just lost, you know, not to say that they're trying to diversify SNL. So I'm actually surprised they would get rid of somebody who's a strong black character on the show.
Right.
He just filmed an HBO special in St. Louis, and Chris Denman, I think, was there. Was he there?
How did he not get assaulted in St. Louis?
Right. I know.
Yeah, he was there protesting it. See? Chris does not like diversity in any form in any industry.
Meghan Markle.
Traitor.
Meghan
Rat.
Markle doesn't regret speaking up about her experience on Deal or No Deal. She recently recalled what it was like. What?
This woman drives me crazy. Go ahead.
She recently recalled what it was like to be one of the briefcase girls on the NBC game show, alleging she felt like the job reduced her to a bimbo. This chick does not do a lot of research into situations she is walking into. So it turns out briefcase girl might be demeaning. Marrying into an all-white monarchy might make me feel a little bit estranged. If you were selling timeshares or cryptocurrency, I'd give her a ring. I'd stop by the house.
This You felt objectified being a briefcase girl? Really? And now you're going to speak out about it?
Yeah.
She just bites every hand that feeds her, and she's asked that hand to feed her.
Yes. I mean, I don't know. I remember I read that the articles was talking about how she said that she felt like they weren't asking her to use her mind. Was that in your interview for the job? Was there a lot of did they have you do a Sudoku?
Yeah.
And quote fucking Lord Byron?
A man on stage will point at you and you open the case. That's all you need to know. Now get in hair and makeup and get that dress shorter.
Okay, princess.
And that's the job you signed up for. You know, she's talking about all this like she has been forced to do these things.
Yeah.
It's like some journey where she's trying to get into America, and it's like, oh my God, they sold me into sex slavery, and so I had that job, and then they forced me to marry this tyrant, and they were incredibly racist, and I eventually escaped from that. Like, you have sought these things out. You applied for them.
Yeah, right.
I'm done with it. It's crazy. What next? I guarantee has she already slammed Disney? Was she a Disney actress like kid?
I don't know.
She was a child actor, I think.
I know that she had a deal with like SiriusXM to do a podcast, and for 3 years they were getting paid tens of millions of dollars, and she turned in one 20-minute conversation she had with somebody. That was it. And then I
can't wait till she comes out against podcast. It's soul deadening.
But now I think they finally did put out a podcast, and it did really well. But probably
they're a spectacle at this point.
Yeah.
But the sense of entitlement on this one.
Make America Florida.
Oh, yeah. This is you.
Oh. Friends are speaking out after a Florida attorney who fought state helmet laws died. How? Drum roll. In a motorcycle crash while not wearing a helmet.
Yep.
Ron Smith, an experienced rider, was killed on August 20th after he lost control of his motorcycle and crashed into a utility trailer. His girlfriend, Brenda Volpe, was his passenger and also died.
Jeez.
A medical examiner said Smith and Volpe died from head trauma. And then Gary Pruce, who was a friend of his, said, quote, he was a guy that you went to for advice. Really? When I'm looking for advice, I go straight to the guy who rides a motorcycle with no helmet. Hey, Ron, what's your take on obvious safety precautions? His 57 children will attend the funeral. Yeah, they don't mention he didn't believe in condoms either. Or vaccines or life insurance.
It's like, where does he think he is? Sturgis? This is insane. The irony. I mean, it sucks because, here we are in a podcast and the irony is just so rich we can't avoid it. But the poor guy. But, oh my God, most motorcyclists want helmets. Even if it's not, there's plenty of motorcyclists in Florida that wear them, even though there's not a law.
Yeah.
Like, what is he thinking? Well, too easy to make a joke there, but it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, not a lot of sympathy from me. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I remember, like at a certain age, well, once you had kids, I'm like, no, I'm not jumping out of airplanes and I'm not going to like jump off some bridge or something with a backpack and a parachute that hopefully opens, because zero sympathy for me, rightly so, when my little baby girls are in the front row of my funeral because of this weekend, sort of daredevil shit I was pulling.
Yeah.
That stuff ended once I had a family.
Who should wear helmets is husbands of senators. That would be, if you really want to look at the numbers these days. Let's go to sports.
You got it. I think Tom Brady should strap on a helmet. It's going to be a little bit of a rough ride.
Maybe a
Tom
rough
Brady
ride, Tom.
and Giselle divorce after 13 years. The closely watched celebrity couple announced their split on Instagram and filed their divorce agreement in a Florida court. Brady said in his post that he and Bunchen finalized their divorce. And anyway, here was his post, quote, "We arrived at this decision amicably and with gratitude for the time we spent together. We arrived at this decision to end our marriage after much consideration. Doing so is, of course, painful and difficult, kind of like playing football these days, like it is for many people who go through the same thing every day around the world. However, we wish only the best for each other as we pursue whatever new chapters in our lives that are yet to be written."
Oh, who came up with that fucking tweet? What team of fucking millennial writers came up with that horse shit?
I know. It's terrible. All right, so he is on a losing streak, dude.
He should have just tweet, I hope now that we've settled the alimony, this crazy bitch can call off her hex on the Buccaneers. You know she's a witch, right? She does all kinds of crazy witchcraft and shit.
Maybe he'll go back to her. He's not very predictable with relationships.
That's true.
He was Trump's friend, and now he's not. So you don't know. You don't know with this guy.
I know. He retired. He came out of retirement.
He has
left
commitment
the Patriots,
issues.
but then he went to Bob Kraft's birthday party. Who knows?
I know. He has commitment issues. That's for sure.
No, Bobby Kelly was talking about her being a witch. It was fucking hilarious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this week on Fitzdog Radio, Bill Burr stopped in for the podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun. Those guys used to be roommates in New York together. I forgot about that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm benefiting from his play on the field. His poor play on the field.
Yeah, just to update the. Denman
beginning-
wrote, did it specify who gets the PPP money? Right. Remember he fucking took like $5 million in PPP money?
No, I think it was around $1 million, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 5.
Okay.
So
but we started this season. I immediately went down 100. We're doing $50 a game. I immediately went down $100, 2 games in a row, and that's the last time I lost. And now I'm up $200.
Jesus Christ. And next week, well, so they played Thursday. So they played Chicago, and that blew up my pool because when Chicago won.
I don't think they played Chicago, by the way.
No, this week they played Baltimore. The week before they played Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And he's a pool buster. Everybody in betting pools is getting fucking killed.
So what happened to you? You were going to win this pool.
It's down to, out of 240 people, it's down to 8. I'm still alive. And they have a strength rankings where they look at who has picked the best teams and who has the best teams left to pick. And I'm number 1 in the strength report.
Really?
Yeah.
Is Gibbons still alive in this pool?
No, Gibbons got knocked out. I offered him a
Bad
split.
news for Gibbons.
That's the bad news for Gibbons. I offered him a split. He could still be in it. And he wanted a bigger. You backed him up. He wanted. You said that I should give him a bigger split because at the time he was ahead in the strength rankings.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Whatever it was, I stand by it. I'm sure I was correct. Yeah.
All right, let's go international.
All right.
A hospital in Australia is under investigation after nurses allegedly sent a man to the morgue in a body bag while still alive. Kevin Reed, a palliative care patient, supposedly died in Rockingham General Hospital on September 5th, but a doctor's discovery suggests the patient could have actually died on September 6th, despite having already been sent to the morgue. The realization that a grave error was made struck when the doctor unzipped the body bag and found fresh blood on the patient's gown and saw his eyes were open.
Oh, no.
They also checked his phone, and he'd been watching vampire porn.
Couldn't zip up the bag over the erection?
Do you think that this was because Australia is one day behind, that they just got confused?
It might be the international timeline. It is very confusing. Yeah. It's already September 6th there.
Right.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Imagine that, though. The eyes wide open is the crazy part.
Oh,
Imagine
God.
getting zipped in that thing and you're alive, but you can't move or communicate.
Fuck.
Oof.
That's maybe the worst way to die, because it goes on for a long time.
And everyone's wrong who says he's in a better place now. No, he's alive in a bag.
You're right. Well, he died peacefully. You mean clawing at the inside of a vinyl container?
Trying to open the zipper with his eyelids? No, I don't think so.
Oh, God. And then another guy died. This is a very sad international section.
Okay.
An Iranian man who hadn't bathed in more than 60 years died on Sunday at 94. The man was known to his community as Amu Haji, or Uncle Haji, an Iranian term of endearment for an older person.
Okay.
He also had other nicknames like Dirty Darush, Stinky Sam. That's what the neighborhood kids called him.
Yeah, exactly. Piyush.
Most
my
notably,
God.
he became known as the world's dirtiest man for choosing not to wash himself for 6 decades, fearing he would get sick if he ever used soap and water. He cited emotional setbacks in his youth as a primary reason for not bathing.
I thought he just said it was because he'd get sick if he used soap and water. Well, what is the primary reason for not bathing here?
He died in the tiny Iranian town of Dejgah and was from whatever. He washed for the first time several months back. So it said the years of not bathing left him with skin that was covered in soot and pus. His favorite meal was porcupine, and he lived between a hole in the ground and a brick shack built by townspeople. He did not have any known relatives, or none that would claim him, although the townspeople were known to have taken care of him. So he lived to 94. So I guess Johnny Depp's going to be around for a while.
Covered in pus and soot.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp. I was hoping this guy might have been a rich guy and just flaunting it.
Yeah.
This is disgusting.
Yeah. What a
But
gross.
how did he live that long? Oh, my
Jesus.
God.
Imagine having to take care of prep the corpse. Oh, no, I guess in, did he say his religion? Didn't say.
Here are his ashes. No, thank you. Disgusting.
Ugh. All right, let's get down to, what are we doing? This day in history.
Here it is. Oh, I remember this.
1938, Orson Welles' War of the Worlds radio play is broadcast. It was a realistic dramatization of a Martian invasion of Earth. And Welles was only 23 years old when he updated H.G. Wells' 19th century science fiction novel, The War of the Worlds, for the radio. Despite his age, he'd already been on the air for several years, and the show started October 30th at 8 o'clock. A voice announced that they were presenting Orson Welles and the Mercury and the Mercury Theater on air in War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. But at that same time, most people were listening to Edgar Bergen and his dummy, Charlie McCarthy, which ended at 8:12. So people basically missed the beginning, saying this is, a written fictional piece. And they just started listening, and there was an announcer who was reading a weather report and then seemingly abandoned the storyline and announced that
Earth has been attacked.
Earth has been attacked. Something's wriggling out of the shadow like a gray snake. Now here's another, and another, and another one. They look like tentacles to me. I can see the thing's body now. It's large. Large as a bear. It glistens like wet leather. But that face, ladies and gentlemen, it's indescribable. And so it just kept going, and they had heat ray weapons, and they were killing people, and people fucking freaked out. Did anyone
There's
kill
a movie
themselves?
about it. I think that it might have been overstated. Originally, it was like people jumped off buildings and committed suicide, but I think that might have been overstated. But there is a movie where it shows the production. I remember when I was a kid, it was like on TV, but like to make certain sound, they had like a jar and a toilet, and were just rotating it and making this sound. And it was an incredibly creative radio show that was trying to be as realistic as possible. And boy, did they succeed.
So the FCC investigated, and no laws were broken. So
wow, all right. Did they change laws, like maybe more warnings or something? I mean, there had to be something so it wouldn't happen
they
again.
agreed to be more cautious in their programming in the future, but this helped Orson Welles land a contract and put out Citizen Kane just 5 years later.
Not even. Orson Welles, I think he was 24 when he started on Citizen Kane.
Okay.
Which is unbelievable because he plays, the older character in it also.
Well, this was in 1938, and then Citizen Kane came out in 41. So it was probably, developed for a couple years and then came out.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do some letters to the editor.
All right, then.
This comes from Gaz, who says, for the love of God, please stop the first album segment of the show. I love every part of Sunday Papers, but I am in disbelief that you are still going over best first albums almost 8 weeks. I'm not sure why this has even started. I do not recall a first album section of any paper in America. Sorry, I'm not one to complain, but I feel you need this to end. Please do not read the best double albums next week. Let this die. Let us move on. Anyway, Davey has these best first albums. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, The Lear of Orpheus. That was a fucking great album.
Yeah, Nick Cave's great.
And then a couple I've never heard of. Jim says Cold Roses 1 and 2 by Ryan Adams. What?
Oh,
do you know any good songs by Ryan Adams?
Oh, yeah. No. He's good, but
Is he?
I'm not putting his first album. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. He's Canadian, right?
That's Brian Adams.
Oh, that's Brian. Maybe I'm thinking of Brian Adams. Boy, those guys have hurt each other's career. There's people that have similar names that have just destroyed each other's careers. I wish I had more examples of that.
Let's get that list going.
Yeah, I did actually used to have something like that called Half a Man on Fitzdog Radio, where two people that were so similar, like the guy from, what was the show about polygamy on HBO?
Yeah, I'm forgetting. Go ahead.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Colin Wells says the Who's
Oh,
Tommy.
yeah, no, I know who you're talking about. And he just died, poor guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Who's Tommy soundtrack from original movie. Yes. He goes, what a time capsule. Where else can you hear Elton John, Tina Turner, Anne Margaret, and yes, Jack Nicholson singing alongside The Who and Keith Moon. Yeah. Josh Gully sends us some hip-hop ones. Notorious B.I.G., Life After Death. Crazy album. Tupac, All Eyes on Me, even better. And Nas, Street's Disciple, never heard it.
All right, Consequence just came out with their 100 best albums of all time. Name one album in the top 10.
Pink Floyd, The Wall.
No.
Led Zeppelin 4.
I think you might. No.
Abbey Road.
Abbey Road. Yes. Number 3.
Are You Experienced by Jimi Hendrix.
No. It's a weird list, man. And, they put out these lists to be provocative.
Songs in the Key of Life, Stevie Wonder.
No. Number 11 is Lauryn Hill, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Fucking love that album.
Yeah, number 11, you wouldn't believe. Blonde on Blonde is 12.
I don't know.
The
That
Velvet
Lauryn
Underground and
Lauryn Hill
Nico is
album
13.
is fucking. I could see putting that in the top 20 for sure.
And definitely you would put it 3 spots in front of Sgt. Pepper's.
No.
Right.
Well, what are the top 10?
All right, here are the top 10. Coming in at 10 is Nirvana, Nevermind. 9, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On.
You know what? Everybody puts that album in the list. It's not a great album. It's got a couple great songs. It's a very loose.
You just don't like black artists. Number 8, Radiohead, OK Computer. You like that. That's so white.
That. Yeah.
7, you're going to hate it. Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly.
I like
Again,
that album.
7 spots ahead of Sgt. Pepper's. 6, this is Greg Fitzsimmons. We each have one in the top 6. Here's yours. The Beach Boys, Pet Sounds.
Yep.
But think about if you're putting Pet Sounds against Sgt. Pepper's, for consequence, it's not a contest. It's Pet Sounds. Number 5, Joni Mitchell, Blue.
Yep. That's in my top 10.
Number 4, The Clash, London Calling.
Double album.
Number 3, The Beatles, Abbey Road. There's 2 albums left.
Double album.
Nope, neither. Number 2, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors.
That's a fucking great album. I agree with that top 10 list.
Well, I haven't gotten to
like
number
it.
1 yet. Number 1, Prince and the Revolution, Purple Rain. Was Purple Rain even Prince's best album?
Met a girl named Nikki. I guess you could say she was a sex queen. Met her in a hotel lobby, masturbating
there he
with
goes.
a magazine.
Well, now you're ruining it
Is
for
that the number
everybody.
1 song? Is that the number 1 album? It's fucking. There was some bad songs on that album.
Let's Go Crazy. Obviously, Purple Rain. Anyway, yeah. When Doves Cry. All right. Anyway, that was Consequence's opinion. Chiming in on the matter.
Other double albums.
God.
Kurt from Everett, Washington says Chicago 2. Allman Brothers Band at the Fillmore East. I'm not including live albums for double albums. It's got to be original material. Exile on Main Street by the Stones.
Obviously.
Blood Sugar Sex Magic by the Chili Peppers. Okay, good ones. Good ones. Let's do an obituary.
And that's all, folks.
First, before we
Blood
get to
Sugar Sex Magic was a double album?
I didn't know it was a double album.
All right, anyway. Okay. Obituary.
We're going to
Leslie
start
Jordan.
with a teaser. A teaser. Why
Oh.
don't you read this one, Mike, to give you something to read?
Leslie Jordan?
Yeah.
Well, he was a beloved guy. He blew up during the pandemic, of course, but actor, comedian, and musician known for his roles in Will and Grace and American Horror Story and for his uplifting pandemic Instagram videos. So he died in a car crash on Monday in Hollywood. He was
Hit a
60
building. He unhashed it.
Cole, you're heartless you. So anyway, only 67. I thought this guy, he really presented as older than that.
Yeah.
And he won an Emmy in 2006 for Will and Grace. And he was behind the wheel of a BMW when he crashed into the side of a building on Cahuenga and Romaine at 9:30 in the morning. And he was declared dead at the scene. Now, they said there might have been a medical issue. Like he might have passed out or something.
I think he
Maybe.
couldn't reach the brake. He was very short.
Not a lot of sympathy. All right, last week I talked, and we even talked about the concept of a pre-obituary, where we'd give love to someone who, while they're still alive, and I brought up Jerry Lee Lewis.
You jinxed him.
And the guy dies days later, and someone called me out on it on Twitter, I saw, and I feel badly, but I don't know. Should I? I mean, wasn't I giving him props while he was still alive?
Well, TMZ announced 3 days before he died that he died. And then they had to come out the next day and apologize that
I
he
didn't
was
see
in
that.
fact still alive. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and meanwhile, everybody picks up on TMZ. The media is so fucking lazy. TMZ prints half-ass shit all the time, and everybody pounces on it.
Well, listen, he was amazing. One of the big, the Mount Rushmore of rock and roll and all that stuff. But I did cherry pick out some of the way he lived his life, including his 13-year-old bride. So that derailed his rock and roll career as he arrived in England, and she was 13, and then he had, so anyway, in 1958, here's just some timelines of his tragedies. In 1958, he had his third hit, Breathless, and it rose to number 2, and he embarked on what would have been a triumphant tour of Britain. Reporters discovered that the young girl traveling with him was his 13-year-old bride, and cousin, and that Mr. Lewis had still been married to his second wife when he recited the vows for his third marriage. Asked by reporters if 13 wasn't a little young to be married, his wife said, "Oh, no, not at all. Age doesn't matter back home. You can marry at 10 if you find a husband." And that
Goodness gracious.
And that cleared it all up. So that derailed his rock. It actually derailed his rock career. And then he went back to his roots with country and really did well in country and was just inducted into the country. Anyway, so here's
when he landed in England, like he had sold out concerts all over the country. And then it got into the paper the day he landed. He had to cancel every single show and fly back home.
Okay, here's some more things. Talk about a life. All right. 1973, his troubled son, Jerry Lee Jr., dies in a car crash. In 76, while watching television at his wife's house, Mr. Lewis accidentally shot his bass player, Norman Owens, in the chest with a .357 Magnum handgun after announcing, quote, "I'm going to shoot that Coca-Cola bottle over there, or my name ain't Jerry Lee Lewis," and shot his bassist right in the chest. Luckily, the guy survived, and he filed a lawsuit. 2 months later, Mr. Lewis drove his Lincoln Continental into the front gates of Graceland, Presley's mansion in Memphis, just hours after being arrested and jailed on a drunk driving charge. A guard later told the police that Mr. Lewis was waving a pistol and demanded to see Presley and refused to leave. His fourth wife, Jaron Pate, drowned in a friend's swimming pool in 1982.
Oh.
His fifth wife, Sean Michelle Stevens, died after taking an overdose of meth in 83.
Damn.
And in 85, doctors removed half his stomach to correct a bleeding ulcer. And he was slowly beginning to settle down. And then his marriage to Carrie McCarver ended in divorce in 2004. I don't even know what wife that is at this point. It has to be 7, right?
I mean, can you imagine cutting fucking alimony checks every month? Luckily, half of them died.
Oh, Jesus. But what? I mean, it's a rock and roll life, man.
Yeah, he lived it. I mean, there was definitely wasn't there a biography of him?
Oh, yeah. 1989, I think
a movie?
it came out.
Was there a biographical movie about him?
Yes.
Was it
came
called
out
Great Balls of Fire?
Yep, in 89, I think it came out.
Okay, yeah. I gotta watch that again.
Yeah. I'm forgetting the name of the guy who was in it. But we all know him. Famous.
Was it?
I'm a little tired. I'm on
who's
Florida
married to
time.
Meg Ryan?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And he did a good job.
His son is on a TV show now. What did I just watching the TV show that he's on? The Boys. Have you seen The Boys?
I have not seen.
Is it Dennis Quaid?
Yeah, Dennis Quaid.
He's got a son,
Away,
Jack
by the way.
Quaid, who's the star of that TV show, The Boys. He's excellent. He's
If
very
I'm not
good.
mistaken, something went a little haywire in Cedars-Sinai Hospital that involved Quaid, like maybe treating one of his kids or something like that.
Oh, really?
And they were really, I think what he was saying is they were really at fault. I don't know much about it more than that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, watch The Boys. It's a really good series.
All right. Oh, I'm almost done with Breaking Bad.
All right, let's cheer up. Time to
Okay.
do the funnies. Sunday funnies. Leroy walks in the door. He's got a briefcase. He looks a little haggard. And Loretta says to her friend, "Another day, another dollar." Pretty much sums up Leroy's salary history. It's nice to hear when you walk in the door after fucking busting your ass all day.
You should kill her. Where's Nancy?
Here's one where Loretta is again talking to a friend. Leroy's got a cocktail. He's standing with another bald guy, and they're talking to a tall blonde. And Loretta says it's a classic case of the blonde leading the bland.
Oh, look at her. She's just so bitter.
Yeah.
What's this guy up to this week?
And then Hager.
Yeah.
Hager and Lucky show up on a shore. He's got a couple of swords drawn, and Lucky goes, "What do you call your island?" And then the black native says, "Ours."
And holds up the sword.
Pulls up the sword.
And Hager and his buddy start sweating.
Start backing the fuck off.
This seems like, I don't know if that's how things went down.
It's a little revisionist history right there.
I think
the
it might.
Vikings
Yeah.
backed off on that one.
I don't think the Vikings sweat when like primitive cultures would hold up a little sword.
Yeah.
I don't think they sweat that.
No.
I doubt those fellas on the beach had a catapult,
Right.
you know?
Or armor.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right. I remember this one, Far Side. So it's the woods and there's two deer and they're standing upright like people. And one of the deer has on his chest a target, a red circle with a red dot in the middle of it. And the other deer goes to him, "Bummer of a birthmark, Hal." And I remember like my roommates and I would be totally baked in college, but his choice of words, like Hal, is perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
And now we get to Blondie, and Dagwood is sitting on a chair watching TV like a load of shit. Blondie always has her back to the TV and she's reading because she cares about her mind.
Yes.
And then Shitface goes, "Hey, honey, you've been awfully quiet since I got home from work." And she goes, "Tootsie and I had our hairstyle today, but apparently you haven't noticed." And then Dagwood goes, "Your hair looks terrific, but it always does, sweetheart. It's fabulous as usual. Your hairstyle never gets boring." And then the last frame is Dagwood in the backyard talking to Herb over the hedge. "So anyway, I guess it didn't sound the way I meant it to sound." And Herb goes, "That's exactly what I said to Tootsie." First of all, when Blondie gets her hair done, how do you not notice? How are you not scanning her from head to toe? By the way, her toes are lovely. How do you not go head to toe on that fucking piece of ass? You get home from your lifeless job where you hate yourself, you're bored and you make no money, and you've got a 10. How do you not check in on that every day?
Solid point.
You know?
He doesn't seem to be improving. I gotta say, he does not seem to be getting it.
No, and yet she sticks around like there's no other. They must live in the worst town in America where there's just no other options.
Yeah. Or he has her brainwashed. You know, he's gaslit her. That's what this is. It's a giant gaslight. Overused term, I get it, but something's going on here.
Yep. He's in her head. He's in
Yep.
her pretty little head. Well, listen, do the right thing for yourself and your family. Go out, get yourself some life insurance today, and the best way to do it is through our friends over at Policy Genius. Go to policygenius.com. Check it out. We also want to give a huge shout out to our friends at Midcoast Media, Chris Denman and Beth Hoops and Key and John and everybody that keeps the show rolling forward every week. Thanks for doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
And Mike, anything you want to promote?
I don't think so. I can't think of anything. What would I promote? I don't know. How about your dates? Where are you playing, Greg?
San Francisco this weekend, people.
There.
Call your friends. Come out and get a
guys,
table.
guys.
Dennis Gibbons will be performing on the Saturday night show. He's doing a guest
tight
spot.
18 minutes. Yeah, that's what
I
I've
know.
heard.
If he goes long, I swear
He's
to
got
God.
it down to 18.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys there, and have fun in Florida, Mike.
You got it. I think it's time to take it ish.
It's time to take it ish.
Take it ish.
Take it ish.
They moved to Hollywood to make it big. They hit the beach and started popping out kids. Read all about it. It's Sunday papers again. Bop, 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 shoot, bop. Ooh, these knuckleheads headed for Tinseltown. They hit the clubs and started clowning around. Read all about it. It's Sunday papers again. Bop, 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 shoot, bop. And if you live in LA, they're gonna talk behind your back. You're gonna need somebody to pick you up when you're down and make you laugh. Sunday Papers Podcast with your host Greg and Mike. Ooh, it's easy Sunday, just like riding a bike. Read all about it. It's Sunday Papers again. Bop, 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 shoot, bop.